Alrighty. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. I'm Varsha, and today we're diving into Microsoft DevBox, which is a service that we really think is a game changer for managing developer workstations in the cloud. DevBox is Microsoft's managed service that provides secure, compliant, and ready-to-code workstations for your development team. In the next 15 minutes or so, we'll explore how DevBox can streamline your administrative tasks and just generally boost your team's productivity. So first of all, what is Microsoft DevBox? Our whole philosophy of creating a self-serve environment with guardrails is what we really think takes it to the next level. So as an admin, you can have the enterprise-ready controls, which are trusted, managed, and secure, so that developers can spin up their own VMs and efficiently get started on their own. We achieve this balance between the developer's self-serve experience and admin security via the resource structure that allows admins to monitor and control all aspects. I'm going to hand it off to Delvis, who's going to show us a quick lay of the land when it comes to the special DevBox capabilities.
Thanks for the great intro, Varsha. Hey everyone, I'm Delvis, and like Varsha said, I'm going to show you some of the key administrative resources that provide various levels of configuration and security for your team on DevBox. So admins have a ton of controls when it comes to generally configuring DevBoxes for their teams. You can have control of your DevBoxes at the organizational level, team level, and even for different geographical regions across your company. Firstly, there's the Dev Center, which is the first resource you create when setting up the environment. The Dev Center is commonly used to represent your entire org. Configurations that happen at the Dev Center level would apply across your team. For instance, you could enable the Azure Monitor agent for you and other admins on your team to use. And in case you're wondering what the Azure Monitor agent is, we'll talk about it in more detail later. Next up, we have projects, which are generally used to segment out configurations on a per team basis. For example, the Dev Center admin has controls over which users are granted admin privileges to specific projects. These admins, or the project admins, are generally leads within your team. Lastly, we have pool resources, which is where a project admin can specify networking policies and image configurations that make sense for their team. This can vary broadly from team to team, depending on factors like team location, security requirements, and other granular VM customizations. We've provided a very powerful set of controls over our service to make your configurations exactly what your org and individual teams want. Now, I'm going to hand it back over to Varsha, who's going to guide us through some of the great integrations that we've put in place.
Thank you for that overview, Delvis. What sets DevBox apart is its seamless integration with the Azure ecosystem. This means you can leverage familiar tools for a more powerful experience. For today's demo, I'd like to touch upon Azure Monitor, which is one of the many tools that DevBox leverages in the Azure ecosystem. So let's take a look at how it works with DevBox. So as we all know, IT administrators need a pulse of the service. So how it's being used, who needs help, and what they can do to optimize and just make their engineering teams more productive. But this isn't as easy as it sounds because there are multiple engineering managers who are using the service and even more engineers. DevBox's latest telemetry integration with Azure Monitor will help IT admins monitor and better manage the service. So at the Dev Center level, you can see here that I can enable the Azure Monitor agent to make sure all DevBoxes in the Dev Center will be configured to automatically install the Azure Monitoring agent. The agent collects tons of monitoring data from the operating system of the VM. I can then create log analytics workspaces to analyze various DevBox metrics in my org. Today, Delvis and I are going to walk through 3 example topics where we can use Azure Monitor to make development teams more productive. We'll first touch upon resource utilization, aka how to monitor and optimize resource usage. Then we'll discuss how to control billing and costs across your org using the telemetry. And lastly, we'll move on to security for the DevBox service and its respective apps. So let's start with the first topic on basic resource usage. Say I'm an enterprise IT admin who just deployed DevBox for all the developers in my enterprise. At first, I generally want to understand how DevBoxes are being used post-production deployment. So here in Azure Monitor, you can get a comprehensive view of your DevBox deployment. Let's first use Azure Monitor to see whether DevBoxes are being used by adding the following query to a log analytics workspace. I'll add it here. Since our enterprise is gradually adopting the service, I realized looking at the telemetry that usage is lower than expected, and we can potentially save on costs here and there. For example, the max CPU utilization is under 20%. You can see 16 here, another 16 up here, and it's generally less than around 20% for any given machine. So I'm thinking we can reduce SKU sizes for now. But overall, even with these raw logs, I'm getting a sense that people are generally able to connect and use the service. With this added line here, we can easily create visualizations as well as more legibly understand the data. So you can see the two spikes in the chart with the max CPU utilization. Again, it's a little under 20%, and this is not very high. So that was cool. I got to see that the developers in my enterprise can connect and use their DevBoxes. But is performance and usage optimal? Well, the first aspect I'd like to understand as an IT admin is whether teams are working in the appropriate regions. I created a log analytics workspace to see where the DevBoxes are created. This is a metric I'd like to track, so I'd like to make another query over here. Looking at these DevBoxes, I see that most of them are in central US. So this isn't ideal because I know we have developers located in India. So now, as an IT admin, not only can I look at usage, I can even provide suggestions to various subteams on how to optimize for performance and improve latency. For example, I can now contact Delvis, who has multiple developers on his team located in Bangalore.
Hey everyone, I'm an engineering team lead whose team primarily develops on DevBoxes. I can now create a pool using Microsoft hosted network in central India to improve latency for my team. This should decrease the latency for my developers by 200 milliseconds on average. If you're interested, please refer to our documentation to learn which regions will reduce latency for your team. Another feature I want to make use of are the DevBox project limits. This is a configuration which allows project admins to limit the number of devices that each individual can create. This is a fantastic tool to grant developers on your team the flexibility they need to spin up new VMs while giving you the guardrails to limit runaway usage. Let's jump into the Azure portal and have a look. So here we can see our project, aptly named DevBox project, and this lives in the Contoso Dev Center. So the first thing I want to take a look at is what my access level is on this project. Again, as a project lead, I should have project admin privileges, which you can see here, as well as DevBox user privileges so that I can spin up my own machines. Now, one of the configuration tools we mentioned are the project limits. In here, we can see we have the ability to enable DevBox limits and specify a number of DevBoxes we want our developers to be able to create at max. Again, this prevents your developers from creating too many DevBox environments and running up costs for your team. Now, if we jump into the DevBox pools configuration, we can see that there are currently 2 pools, which each host 2 DevBoxes. Now, both of these pools are in the central US region, which Varsha pointed out isn't ideal for my team, given that all of my developers are in Bangalore. So let's create a new DevBox pool that fits our needs. So in here, I'm just going to name my pool to give it a good representation of what we're creating. So this is a central India pool that's going to have 8 core devices. I'm going to select this image here, and I'm going to choose to deploy to a Microsoft hosted network, which we want, again, to be in the central India region. And ultimately, we can skip these optional sections and confirm that we have an appropriate license and create this pool. So once that creates, developers on my team will be able to start spinning up new devices on this pool. And again, they'll have the enhanced performance and reduced latency of using a pool that's native to their region.
Cool. Thanks, Delvis. Another topic that's on every IT admin's mind is billing and costs. As an IT admin, I can look into each pool and see where certain pools are billed extra. So since costs are something I care a lot about as an IT admin, I decided to make my own dashboard to look at this data on a regular basis. You can see here that I can see the user accounts with the top compute hours. I can also see the number of dev boxes per dev center, as well as other usage metrics per dev center. Looking at this section here, I won't click into each account for privacy purposes, but I can see that some of these dev boxes have very high total running hours, even though they don't use that many dev boxes according to the dev box count over here. I can assume that their images are not using schedules. I'm going to actually ask Delvis to add a schedule for his India team as a cost control.
I can add a schedule for my team in India so their dev boxes hibernate when not in use. So here we're looking at the pool's configuration page again, and we're going to have a look at the new Central India pool and see if we can assign a schedule to it. So here we can edit the pool we created, and down below you'll see this auto stop section, which pertains to what we want to do, set a schedule to stop or hibernate these machines. So for now, I'll just enable the auto stop schedule and leave it for the default times, but feel free to configure that as it makes sense for your team. And additionally, we have this enable hibernate on disconnect checkbox, which allows you to grant a grace period after which dev boxes will be hibernated. This is meant to control costs in case a user is to log off well before the auto stop time. The device will hibernate on its own, given the grace period has expired. Again, this is a great tool just to control costs for your team. So let's save this down. Once that's complete, any new dev box that's created in this pool or any existing dev boxes will start to use this new configuration and shut down per your request.
On to our last topic. Having a secure workstation is of utmost importance, and it's important for us IT admins to ensure that all security protocols are in place, whether it be for the dev box itself or the applications developers are using within their workstation. Using Azure Monitor, I can investigate any DevBox app or tools exposed to telemetry that is piped through the monitoring service. For example, one of the logs that Visual Studio exposes is whether their trust feature has been enabled or disabled. I can look into our logs to check if Visual Studio has the feature enabled to ensure utmost security. Luckily, I can see that it's enabled for Delvis's entire team, so I can save a step of contacting him. So as we've seen, we've highlighted some examples of how DevBox empowers administrators to efficiently manage development environments, control costs effectively, and quickly identify and resolve issues. We hope and encourage you all to explore DevBox further. Please check out our Ignite blog posts for more advanced features and upcoming updates. Our documentation page also has detailed guides to help you get started. So thank you all for your time. Please give DevBox a try.